Hi guys, welcome to Memo's tutorials. I'm super excited that now I'm able to record with my face on the screen, and today we are looking at photosynthesis, which is plant nutrition, and it's quite a long topic. And I want you to ask yourself, what is photosynthesis? Where does it take place? What are the conditions for photosynthesis? What are the adaptations for photosynthesis to take place effectively, right? Once you're able to answer those questions, you are good to go. So firstly, I will explain photosynthesis as a process whereby green plants manufacture their own food in the presence of carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight, right? So here, basically the plants, they are converting sunlight energy into usable energy in the form of carbohydrates, and oxygen is produced as a byproduct, right? So now here I have the external structure of a leaf, which I assume we are all familiar with. We can all see the lateral veins, we can see the margin, the midrib, and even the bud where the leaf connects to the small branches. And there's very one important thing on leaves, the waxy cuticle, which is glassy or looks like a plastic. This layer on the outer on the external structure of the leaf, it's very important for reducing water loss. Remember, for photosynthesis to take place, I said water has to be there. So water is a very important factor for plants to be able to make their own food, right? And the veins, they also help in the transportation of food and water throughout the leaf. We are going to look at them in more detail as we'll be looking at the internal structure of the leaf, right? And most leaves are very thin and flat, which increases the surface area for photosynthesis to take place as well, right? So now looking at the internal structure of a leaf, this is the very important part, and you must master it very well. So firstly, I touched on the waxy cuticle, which looks like a thin plastic layer on your leaf. This reduces water loss, right? Since we're talking of water loss, how does the plant lose water? Through what? We have what we call the stomatas or the stomata. So this stoma, these are openings on your leaf, right? These are openings on your leaf, and these openings, they are guided by what we call the gut cells. These gut cells, they control when the leaf should open and when it should close. Remember, I mentioned that sunlight is very important for photosynthesis to take place. So at night, we don't have sunlight. So the gut cells will command the stomatas to close. By so doing, it means that they are now saving water. They are minimizing water loss through the leaves, right? So during the day, the gut cells will command the stomatas to open. The reason for opening during the day, there is sunlight during the day, and opening it means that carbon dioxide can now enter freely and photosynthesis can take place, right? And then from there we have the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis. These are very thin layers, and they are transparent. They allow light to pass through them without any difficulties. Remember, I said light is very crucial in this process of making food, right? And where is this light heading to? It's heading to our palisade mesophyll layer. This palisade mesophyll layer, I'm sure you can see it's more greenier here. It's rich in chlorophyll. It has a lot of chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll is the one that traps sunlight energy, is the one that traps sunlight. It's very important, right? So this is where photosynthesis takes place. I'm sure you can remember when we looked at the specialized cells, we also have the palisade cells as the specialized cells for photosynthesis, right? As you can see underneath the mesophyll, underneath the palisade mesophyll, we've got the spongy mesophyll. It has the palisade cells, but these ones are irregular in shape. They are not closely packed like those ones. They are not rectangular in shape. or cylindrical. They are not like that. These ones are irregular. It's different shapes, different sizes, and which is very, very important. It ends up forming what we call a spongy mesophyll. Spongy mesophyll meaning that it has got air spaces in between, and these air spaces, they allow gases to diffuse easily. Remember, we said carbon dioxide is of necessity during photosynthesis, so it's the one that comes in, right? And oxygen is produced as a byproduct. It's the one that goes out, right? So that's why the spongy mesophyll is very important. Also, in this spongy mesophyll, we have the vascular bangles. These vascular bangles, we have the vein, which carries water, which we call the xylem, that carries water, and we have the phloem that carries the product of photosynthesis, which is glucose, right? So the phloem carries the glucose to all parts of the plant where it is required, and also to the storage organs. And the xylem carries water. Remember, water is a necessity during photosynthesis, right? And then now, there's this question that they like so much. They ask you the leaf adaptations for photosynthesis. What makes leaves to be the best for photosynthesis? Why not the roots? Why not the other parts? Why the leaves, right? So firstly, the leaves, they are broad, number one. They are flat shaped. So this offers quite a large surface area for the absorption of sunlight and carbon dioxide, which are very important for photosynthesis to take place, right? And then another thing, most leaves are thin. So since most of them are thin, this means that carbon dioxide and light energy, they can diffuse easily, and they travel shorter distances because they are dealing with a very thin object, which are the leaves, right? And these leaves, they also have numerous chloroplasts. And what do these chloroplasts do? They have what we call chlorophyll, which is the green pigment. That green pigment, what does it do? It traps sunlight energy, which is needed for photosynthesis to take place. So leaves are rich in chloroplasts. Another thing, on the spongy mesophyll cells, these leaves, they have got much bigger spaces in the spongy mesophyll cells, and those air spaces, they make it easier for carbon dioxide to diffuse in and for oxygen to diffuse out during photosynthesis, right? Another thing is that these leaves, they have too much stomatas. Why are they important? They allow gaseous exchange to take place, allowing carbon dioxide to enter and oxygen to go out. So these gases, they enter through the stomatas, right? Another very important adaptation is that the palisade cells, they are closely packed together, and they are also cylindrical in shape, which means that we have quite a large surface area for photosynthesis to take place. Okay, we also have the branching network, where we've got the xylem, which brings water and mineral ions, and we have got the phloem, which carries the food that has been produced during photosynthesis, right? And then the next aspect that I want us to have a look at today is the factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis. So I've mentioned that during photosynthesis, here the green plants, they are manufacturing their own food in the presence of sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, and chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is very, very important, which is the green pigment, and which is concentrated in the palisade cells. So now, since we are looking at the factors that affect the rate of photosynthesis, number one, we're going to look at light. When we have a higher or more light intensity, when we are having more light, the rate of photosynthesis is also going to increase. When we have dim light or we don't have light at all, photosynthesis will not take place. So with this graph we have here, it's just to show us that as sunlight intensity increases, the rate of photosynthesis will also increase. When it decreases, the rate of photosynthesis will also decrease, right? And then we have the second factor, which is chlorophyll concentration. Remember, even on the definition of photosynthesis, we are saying that this is a process whereby green plants manufacture their own food. So when we have a variegated leaf like this, a very colorful leaf where it is some areas are white or yellow and few areas are green. So when we have a leaf like this, only the green parts of this leaf are going to photosynthesize. The other parts will not photosynthesize. So it is very, very important that your leaf it's green throughout. If it's not green throughout, then the rate of photosynthesis will be lower. It will only take place where it is green, right? We also have temperature, which is very, very important. So an increase in temperature increases the rate of photosynthesis up to a certain level. A further increase in temperature will actually kill your plant. Your plant will be wilted, and all chemical reactions will eventually stop, because now you'll be burning your plant, right? So in other words, we are saying that plants have got an optimum temperature where they function. So when you increase those temperatures, the rate of photosynthesis will also increase. When you reach the optimum temperature, like for example here, the optimum range is between 25 and 30, meaning to say at this point the rate of photosynthesis will be at the peak. Further that, the rate will decrease since your plant will be dying. Or colder than that, the temperature is close to 0 degrees, your plant will not be photosynthesizing at all, right? And we have carbon dioxide concentration. Remember, we said carbon dioxide is a necessity when your plants are photosynthesizing, right? So when you increase the rate of carbon dioxide, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. But then it reaches a certain point where even if you keep on increasing, the rate of photosynthesis will remain the same. It will not increase. I usually refer this to a very good example where we have, let's say if pizza is your favorite, and then they give you a lot of pizza and you're very hungry, you will eat as much as you can. But at some point, even if they keep on giving you the pizza, you'll reach a point where you will not want to eat at all. You know what? Because you are full already. No matter how much they keep bringing pizza, you have reached your limit. You can't go beyond that. That's how I take carbon dioxide concentration. To say, even if we keep on and on increasing carbon dioxide, our plants, they reach a certain point where even if we keep on increasing the carbon dioxide concentration, the rate of photosynthesis will remain constant, right? So what I want you guys to take home from this whole lesson is that photosynthesis is a process whereby green plants manufacture their own food in the presence of sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. And this food is in the form of sugar, the glucose, or we can say the carbohydrates, right? And oxygen is produced as a byproduct. So it's very, very important that you know the equation for photosynthesis, right? And that's all for today. See you on our next class. Thank you.